In 2017, 188,000 people ran from their homes in California, not because of war, not because of an earthquake, but because one massive wall of concrete started to fail, silently, and that dam is still standing today. But engineers say something terrifying. It's not fully safe, and it might already be slowly breaking apart. This isn't just a story about a dam. It's about what happens when a structure built to last a century starts showing signs of collapse, decades earlier than expected. And the most shocking part? The danger didn't come from nature. It came from the design itself. Problem High in Northern California sits one of the most important pieces of infrastructure in the United States, the Oroville Dam. It holds back one of the largest reservoirs in the state. Millions of people depend on it for water, power, and flood control. At 770 feet tall, it is the tallest dam in the United States. A wall of earth and rock so massive, it looks indestructible. But here's the truth engineers rarely say out loud. Dams don't just hold water, they hold pressure, constant pressure, every second of every day. And pressure never stays the same. It grows, it shifts, it tests every weak point over time. For decades, Oroville Dam seemed perfect, until nature started asking a question no one wanted to answer. What happens when your emergency systems fail? In 2017, that question stopped being theoretical, and within hours, engineers realized something horrifying. They were no longer in control of the water behind the dam. Agitated started with heavy rainfall. Storm after storm hit Northern California. The reservoir behind Oroville began rising faster than expected. Water levels climbed closer to the spillway. This was normal. Dams are designed for this. But then engineers noticed something wrong. The main spillway, the structure meant to safely release excess water, was breaking apart. Concrete chunks started disappearing under the force of rushing water. At first, it was small damage. Then it became erosion. Then it became a full structural failure. Water doesn't stop when it finds weakness. It exploits it. Fast. What started as controlled release turned into uncontrolled destruction. And for the first time in its history, Oroville Dam had to rely on its emergency spillway. But there was a problem. That spillway was never meant to be used. And when they activated it, they discovered something that changed everything. The ground itself couldn't handle the water. Agitate, escalation. The emergency spillway was basically a concrete lip. Behind it, just a hillside of dirt and rock. The idea was simple. If the main spillway fails, water flows over the hill safely. But safe was only theory. When water poured over that hillside, it didn't flow smoothly. It tore into the ground. It started carving a massive channel. Every second, the erosion got worse. If it continued, the hillside could collapse completely. And if that happened, a massive, uncontrolled flood wave would rush downstream. That's when the evacuation order was given. 188,000 people, forced to leave their homes, not knowing if they would ever return. Helicopters flew overhead. Engineers worked non-stop. Water levels were carefully managed to reduce pressure. And slowly, the crisis was brought under control. But something had already changed. Trust in the dam was gone, because everyone realized something simple but terrifying. It wasn't built to handle its worst-case scenario. But here's what makes this story even more unsettling. The damage wasn't a one-time event. It exposed a deeper problem hiding inside America's infrastructure. Solution: what's really happening? After the crisis, engineers began massive repair and reinforcement work. The spillway was rebuilt, the hillside was stabilized, new monitoring systems were installed. Today, the dam is considered safe again. But safe doesn't mean perfect. It means managed risk. And that risk still exists. Because dams age in a way most people don't see. Concrete weakens slowly. Metal components corrode. Soil shifts under pressure. And water never stops testing weaknesses. The real danger is not sudden collapse. It's a slow failure that builds quietly over years. The Oroville Dam is now one of the most closely monitored dams in the world. But even with constant surveillance, one question remains unanswered. How many other structures are quietly approaching their breaking point without anyone noticing? And here's the part that changes how you see everything. The United States has over 90,000 dams. Many of them were built decades ago, some before modern safety standards even existed, which means Oroville wasn't the exception. It might have been the warning. The story of America's tallest dam isn't about collapse. It's about time. Time revealing design flaws, time exposing weak systems, time pushing structures beyond what they were originally built to handle. Oroville Dam didn't fail completely, but it showed something more important. Even the strongest engineering is not permanent. It's temporary stability, held together by maintenance, monitoring, and constant human intervention. And the moment that stops, everything changes. And if you think this is the most dangerous dam story in the world, wait until you hear about the dam that engineers believe could trigger a disaster far bigger than Oroville. A place where one mistake wouldn't just flood a valley, it could reshape an entire region. But that's a story for next time.